Putin just gave Iran the keys to Russia's air force.
The two countries have increased their efforts to jointly resist Western sanctions and political isolation. Now, Iran has finalized arrangements for the delivery of Russian Sukhoi Su-35 fighter jets.
In exchange, Iran has been supplying Russia thousands of Shahed 136 drones to bomb Ukraine from as back as 2022. Although both Iran and Russia have denied this, the headlines say otherwise.
Over 2,000 drones from Iran. And that's the next dimension to this story. Not that Iran admits it.
We have not provided weaponry to any side of the country's war.
But it's more than just weapons. Russia stands to gain so much more with this new deal, raising several questions in the West. How will Iran use this new technology in their war against Israel? What other benefits does Russia get from this alliance? And is Iran really the ally Putin needs to conquer Ukraine? The new military alliance between Iran and Russia has drawn international criticism, particularly due to its impact on the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, as well as Iran's conflict with Israel. By granting Iran the license to Russian Su-35 jets, Iran could gain a significant advantage over Israel, and this could create new problems for the United States. However, Putin is not giving out this technology for free. In exchange for the license to produce the Su-35 jets, Iran has been supplying Russia with military support, like the Shahed 136 drones and other loitering munitions.
Now, the war in Ukraine has fundamentally changed the Russian-Iranian relationship. The cooperation between the two countries has reached unprecedented levels, evident in the use of Iranian drones by Russia in Ukraine.
Known for its affordability and effectiveness, the Shahed 136 drone is often referred to as kamikaze, or suicide drone, due to its one-way, explosive-laden design that targets critical infrastructure and military positions.
They are deadly, but they are also a real instrument of terror because they don't just come in on a trajectory and explode. They loiter and they seek out a target, and that is terrorizing.
Since late 2022, Russia has deployed these drones extensively to strike Ukrainian cities, energy facilities, and logistics hubs, causing significant disruption to civilian life and military operations.
This is a Shahed 136 drone. Russia's using them. Ukraine is trying to intercept them. This is footage posted by Ukraine's Air Force Command. It says it's destroying around 85% of the drones. Some then are getting through, which leads to scenes like this with Kiev police officers trying to shoot one down.
In addition to the drones, Iran may also provide Russia with short-range ballistic missiles and ammunitions, which Russia desperately needs at the moment, as the war has drained most of its military stockpiles. When fighting long wars, it's important to keep reserves of weapons and ammunition for future use. And since neither Ukraine nor Russia knows when the war will end, Russia's deal with Iran ensures it has enough ammo for however long the war spans. But the alliance is not one-sided, because, on one hand, Russia gets the military support it needs to win its war against Ukraine, while on the other, Iran gets the technology it needs to enhance its air force in the war against Israel. But if the West thinks that this is all Putin stands to gain from the New Deal, they are terribly mistaken, because this alliance could position Russia as the global superpower. As of now, one of the biggest challenges Russia faces is the heavy sanctions from the West. However, if the deal with Iran is successful, Putin may have just found the solution to this problem. Ever since the Second World War ended, the US dollar has grown to become powerful and the most utilized means of payment by most countries, including Russia, during foreign trades. However, if Russia and Ukraine adopt a barter system, both countries will be able to benefit from each other's resources without the influence of the West. It's important to know that this is not the first time Russia has used this system of exchange. Only 9 years ago, Russia announced plans to deliver grains to Iran in exchange for oil. So there is a possibility they might use the barter system once more.
Russia's economy minister has said Russia plans to start delivering grain and industrial products to Iran in return for oil. The minister announced it on Sunday in Tehran. He said the plan will affect not only grain, there will be broad lists of goods traded.
Russia is a dominant player in military aviation technology and has long been a supplier of advanced weapon systems to several countries. Russia could supply Iran more technology to modernize its air force. In exchange, Iran, being one of the world's largest oil and natural gas producers, could provide Russia with crucial natural resources. As global energy markets fluctuate, having a reliable supply from Iran would help Russia maintain its energy exports, particularly when facing limitations from Western sanctions. But it gets even better for Russia because Iran also holds a critical position in the global energy market. This deal could give Russia access to reliable energy supplies and boost its economy in many ways. Firstly, it could serve as an alternative source of supply to meet domestic demand, allowing Russia to redirect more of its own energy exports to global markets, particularly to non-Western buyers like China and India. This would help Russia maintain its critical revenue stream despite restrictions on trade with Western countries. Additionally, a steady supply from Iran would also provide Russia with greater leverage in negotiating energy deals and managing global oil prices. This will allow Russia to become less dependent on the West, further reducing the leverage countries like the US has on her. One major detail Russia may not have informed Iran about is that the extended war with Ukraine has drained a lot of its resources and manpower. So by granting Iran the license to produce the Su-35 jets, Russia is not just doing Iran a favor, it also massively benefits them. The deal lifts most of the burdens off Russia's factories, which then allows them to focus on replenishing critical supplies like tanks, drones, and artillery assets vital for their war in Ukraine. Additionally, by outsourcing production to Iran, Russia can produce Su-35 jets faster. Iran has demonstrated the capacity to manufacture sophisticated military equipment, and with Russian technical support, it could assemble and produce the Su-35 to support Russia's air power quicker than before. With both Russian and Iranian facilities working in parallel, production would increase significantly, meaning Russia wouldn't face delays in maintaining air superiority while focusing on other critical areas. Both nations have been isolated by Western sanctions, so by sharing technology and resources, Russia gains a stable ally who could support its broader regional goals, especially in the Middle East. Ultimately, granting Iran the Su-35 license could ease the strain on Russia's defense sector, hasten jet production, and enhance its military alliance with Iran, all of which would give Russia the time it needs to rebuild its military and maintain its global power status despite recent losses. Speaking of the Middle East, Putin's renewed ties with the Iranian government might just be the leverage he needs over the Western governments. Ever since February 2022, when Russian troops first invaded Ukraine, Russia has been isolated and without allies. This raised challenges for Putin because Ukraine had the full support of the West behind it. However, with a new military alliance established with Iran, Putin can finally send a clear message to the West that despite facing economic sanctions and diplomatic isolations, Russia remains capable of forming strategic partnerships with reliable and powerful allies. Russia's new alliance with Iran offers significant geopolitical advantages, particularly due to Iran's significant influence in the Middle East, including its strong presence in countries like Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, and Yemen. Through its alliance with Iran, Russia gains not only a key regional partner, but also access to networks and leverage in a region where Iranian-backed groups hold substantial power. Iran's influence in the Middle East stems from its close relationship with various political and militant groups. In Syria, Iran has played a critical role in supporting the Assad regime alongside Russia. Together, their military cooperation has helped maintain Assad's power, positioning both nations as key stakeholders in the country's future. Russia's alignment with Iran strengthens its own influence in Syria, ensuring a long-term presence in the region and access to important strategic assets like military bases. In Lebanon, the Iran-backed Hezbollah movement is a powerful political and military force. Russia's alliance with Iran could open channels of influence with Hezbollah, further extending its reach in the region. Yemen also presents another opportunity. Iranian-backed Houthi rebels have been engaged in a string-out conflict with a Saudi-led coalition. Russia, through its ties with Iran, could influence the outcome of this conflict, potentially positioning itself as a mediator in the Middle East. It's no news that the United States has been offering its full support to Ukraine in the war against Russia, supplying ammunition and resources. However, this is not the only country the US is currently offering help. Israel, a country that has been at war with Iran for decades, has also been receiving significant resources from the US to help win there in the Middle East. So how does Russia benefit from this conflict? Putin granting the license of production to Iran naturally gives Iran the edge they need to face the Israeli army. And if this happens, it could potentially prompt Israel to increase the pressure on the US to take assertive actions against Iran. This could lead to a shift in the US focus from Ukraine to the growing tensions in the Middle East, thereby benefiting Russia in the war against Ukraine. As a regional power with considerable military strength, Israel has consistently worked to maintain a strategic military advantage over its neighbors, particularly Iran. Iran's acquisition of Su-35 fighter jets would give it the ability to project air power more effectively, challenge Israeli air superiority, and potentially threaten Israeli assets in the region. Such a scenario would likely result in Israel lobbying the US for more aggressive actions against Iran, possibly in the form of sanctions, military interventions, or diplomatic efforts to reduce Iran's growing capabilities. If the US shifts its attention and resources to address the potential conflict between Israel and Iran, this would reduce the flow of arms and financial aid directed at Ukraine, weakening Ukraine's defense and making it easy for Russia to take over.